Tell you what, the Southern River Band boys, they're on tour at the moment. I've been seeing them popping up all over socials. You're on the Shelter FootyCast. Get you a big fan of the Southern River Band boys. I mean, they're good value.
Mate, I've heard more of their music in the last 12 to 18 months on this program, this podcast, and anywhere else, I reckon. No, they're very good operators, and nice to have them associated with our Shelter FootyCast.
What do you do? What do you listen to?
No,
if you put it on, put a bit of music on. What is it?
I'm quite varied with my music,
Really?
to be honest. I'm happy to listen to some new stuff.
Okay.
And I say new stuff that's in the charts, obviously.
Yeah, maybe like Dice.
I don't mind that. No, it's okay. Yeah.
Well, mate, they're playing at Shelter coming up, Skeeter. They're playing there September 22, long weekend, right?
Long weekend, yes.
Will you be there or not?
Probably not. I've got the Waffle Grand Final that weekend, but Dice actually, that'll do like that sound. Actually, it's pretty good. And I'm more varied than what you'd think. I know you're sort of there with the Chili Peppers doing your stuff, and I'm sort of more reserved. I'm going to Coldplay with my girls at the end of this year, which, I can take or leave. But no, I think I'm pretty varied with my music.
Very good. Shelter FootyCast on socials. Make sure you give us a follow. You're listening or watching to this right now. Tell your mates. Give us a thumbs up. Do something with it. I don't know. We've got the Bottom Up Roughie of the Week this week, Skater. We were 2 from 2 last week.
Which is almost
the first time.
It's the first time. History in the making. And you know what? Both of us just completely arsed it.
Oh, shock and awe. Start your footy weekend at Bottom Up. Grab your shelters where Bottom Up has you covered. Let's get straight into it. Some big stuff happened this week. I tell you what, plenty going on. Plenty going on.
Yep.
Ashes over. Give me a quick summary. Done and dusted. Were you happy? Were you sad? Do we win? Do we lose?
I've got PAS. Post-Ashes syndrome. I don't know what the hell to do after midnight. At the moment, I just wake up and go, go and watch cricket.
It was bloody good.
It was good. It was tight. And I love the sledging on Twitter. I can't remember 4 years ago, it was this sort
people going bananas.
It was Piers Morgan, the blokes saying, you cheats. And we
had our live show down at the paddo, and I got home, I was blind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was sick. I jumped on Twitter. I started abusing Piers Morgan, saying, we won, you lost, Piers Morgan. You're a twat.
Yeah, there's a bit of... I did that that was part of my Ashes series of having too many perhaps on a Friday night and then just... it was all good. It was a great series. Unfortunately, we've got to wait 2 more years for it.
Now, let's get into footy. You've done it, mate. You have done it. You have retired Lance Franklin. All by your own.
All I'm trying to tell you is I've got a bit of a read on how things are going to play out, and ultimately I was a few weeks out, but I was correct.
You're actually spot on, and I was incorrect. He did not kick 50 goals this year.
Did not play on.
Wow. Yeah. So he's done a calf. He must have done a decent one.
There's been a few calves to high-profile athletes this year, and that's up there, isn't it?
Because he was in the best players of the week before against Fremantle. He kicked 3 goals, and he was good.
But that I think at the back of his mind, he always, I assumed he always thought that 20...
Have you got a direct line to Lance Franklin?
No, but I just thought, to be honest with you, last year he looked like he was just going. Start of this year, it even solidified what I thought. You're right, his body, when he came back, the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, you thought, hang on, there's a chance. And blokes like Robbo, their old son, say he's going to play on possibly.
So are you happy now? You're happy?
No, I'm not happy at all. But I'm just trying. You can still be right, but not happy with the end result, Schoey. I mean, there's going to be things that you'll predict that aren't ideal, but that's the way it played out. There's no farewell match. It's such a limp way for a champion to go out.
I don't like that. Yeah, it is. We'd love to see him one final game, but we won't do that. Shannon Hearn, another retirement, huge retirement. If we're talking about saying people being right, did I say No. I said he was retiring.
Okay, well, let's go back 4 months ago when you said, I think he's good enough, he'll play on. And I said, I think a farewell match in round 24 against Adelaide would be... Now, we can go through the archives if you want.
But
you did get it right on Monday. You got it right on Monday, but geez, you're late to the party, brother.
Okay. So you've called... Where have you prophesised this? When have you done this?
I said, just like Josh Kennedy, he should... pull the pin and have a farewell game. Now, I get a lot wrong, but I'm going to own the stuff I get right.
If in fact, I know that's his last game, but if in fact there are other players considering retirement at the footy club,
yep.
Do you think Shannon Hearn retiring would change any of that? That they don't want to go out together, or either way, does it force a few hands that way, or if you're sort of 50-50 thinking, Oh, geez, I don't want to rain on Bunga's parade in the last game in Adelaide.
No, yeah, well, I'm not sure about that, but you think of it. Stuart Broad retires at 36 or whatever he is during the week. He walks out to bat for the last time with a 41-year-old who wants to play on. Jimmy Anderson must be going, oh, Jesus, am I not reading the signals here? I wonder whether it's the same for the likes of, in different circumstances. Luke Shuey's age isn't so much a factor, it's his body. Nick Natanui, again, the body. So different. I think Bunga, I think it's the right call. And I really, love seeing at the press conference so many people there from the club and the warmth that he was regarded in and the line that he came out with. It was so much of what sums up Shannon Hearn talking about the last game of Josh Kennedy, kicked 8 goals. What would you like? He said, hopefully not 8 kicked on me. That was just his down to earth style, and you know him so much better than anyone on this podcast, and he goes out as Adam Simpson said, as one of the most respected figures ever at the club.
Well, you've just taken the words out of my mouth. I think he's the most respected player in West Coast history now.
Why so?
One, the way he goes about it. He's incredibly humble. He is no nonsense. He literally has not changed since day one. Now, we've ribbed him a little bit about his fashion sense. He came in day one, I reckon, wearing a white belt with Ugg boots and maybe some ripped jeans and that sort of kit, the double polo or something like that. And he's changed it a little bit, but really it hasn't changed too much. I reckon he's still got the white belt in there. But what you see is what you get with Bunga, and that's why he's respected, and his consistency. Like, as a player, when you finish your career, you want the respect of your teammates, clearly, but you get that by them knowing what you're going to get every week from you. So Shannon Hearn, in about his 5th game, is producing pretty much what he does right now. He was best on ground last week as a 36-year-old. Not much has changed through his whole career where he doesn't play bad games. And so I just think that lifts you to respect levels above the superstars. Like, he won't be in the conversation for the great Eagles of all time.
He might not even get in the top 10 best ever players, would he?
But that's an interesting conversation because he is. When you say best players, do you mean talent-wise? Ash Sampi was just like the most talented player that anyone's ever played with, but is he in there? I think he's got to be. Mate, he's the games record holder.
Yeah.
No one's played more games.
And off the back of that, you talk about
premiership captain.
Talk about their value. I mean, John Worsfold, not the best player at West Coast by a long shot over their journey.
I think Shannon Hearn comfortably sits in the top 5 best players at West Coast. It's just how you frame your thoughts about that. He is very much easily in the top 5. He's a premiership captain. He's played the most games ever by the football club. He's never played a bad game in his life. But he's just been a consistent pillar of manhood and backmanship. He's my favourite player to have played with ever in my career.
So you say that, but if you look at the 10 best ever players in terms of talent, probably doesn't get in there.
No.
But you're saying for the totality of what he brought to the club, as you said, apart from the games, the character.
It's how you define
the work ethic.
Talent, though.
Yep.
He's not Lewis Jetta type kicks, but again, if you got the ball in Shannon Hearn's hand, it's hitting the target.
Yeah.
And it's going 60 metres, not far off the ground. Okay, he was an incredibly talented player, but he put everything to use, taught me how to be a professional, taught me how to be a good bloke,
What will he do? What will he do after this?
So I asked him that on 6PR on Monday. He's going to have a year off, so he's probably got some sheep to shear.
Will he go home or stay here?
Yeah, he'll be going straight home to the farm. Mate, I would not be surprised. He'll have a couple of drinks Sunday, on the Monday on a flight back, straight into the overalls, straight into a flannel, straight onto the farm on a quaddie. Like that, genuinely, that's what he does in off-season.
Will he come back here though to live?
I don't know. Don't know about that. But he said he's going to have a year off. He's got great ambition to coach.
Didn't realise that.
Yeah, so he wants to coach, and he'll be a great coach. Don't think he'd ever want to be a head coach. He
doesn't have that sort of demonstrative. Well, he seems like a bit of a.
You don't need to be demonstrative to be a head coach.
No, but you look again. You know him better than I, but he doesn't seem to be someone.
A teacher. He's an educator. He's a teacher.
A quiet.
He is the best on-field tactical leader and player I've ever played with. He could pick up trends in games, in game, on the spot, change what we were doing before the coaches could get a message down. So when he's in the back line and the ball's moving too quickly and we can't defend behind it, he's already seen that. He's already told 4 blokes, we've already changed the way we're playing. The message would come out sometimes. It was hilarious. The message would come out, boys. We used to have like a couple of set plays. Oh, hey boys, we're in red time, and Bunga would be like, yeah, we're already in it. Go back you go. Or well, we need a wing back in to help cover, and there was already a winger there. He would do things before the coaches could, which sums him up as a tactical leader, and that sums him up as he'll be a good coach.
Yeah, but not a head coach in your mind.
No. He doesn't want to, and that's the thing with Bunga. He doesn't overreach either. He just does what he knows he can do, and and that's his strength. Now, so well done, Shannon Hearn. Great career. Now, right, we're talking about things. We're talking about things we got right. Talking about things we got right.
Yeah.
You're calling me the Daycos denier, telling me I'm cracking the shits, and
you have been.
Yeah, telling me that I'm off and blah blah blah. I said on Monday, just watch these two blokes. Everything they do is together. Why do they need to do together? I opened my phone yesterday, and what do I fucking see? Josh and Nick signing a fucking contract the same day. Why? Why are they doing this? Why do they do everything together? Yeah, I was underrated on what I was saying. I think I went overboard on the Monday Night Live show, and I've brought it back just a little bit from there. Why do they need to do everything together? Do you reckon they get paid into the same bank account? No. Pete was down there. They're doing like what? Why? What's happening?
Does it cause you angst?
Yes.
Why?
You can hear it. Just do it by yourself, boys. Nick sign, and then Josh sign a little bit later or something. Why are you doing joint press conferences? Every time I see them on social media, after games, on Collingwood, they're together. And if the answer's they're brothers, well, get stuffed.
So you're
congratulations, Nick.
So
well done,
6
Josh.
years.
Really good. How big was Josh Daycos' contract? I heard he was signed through till 2035.
No, one of them's 29, one of them's 30, I think.
What do you mean? It's a 7-year deal.
It's big. It's big.
That's crazy.
Well, we've seen Buddy, Alistair Lynch. They're the monster deals of 10. But what's an appropriate deal for two young blokes?
But why are we talking about two young blokes? How about we separate the two of them? Nick Daycos is going to win the Brownlow this year. Josh Daycos spoke about almost giving up football in his first couple of years at Collingwood, and he's had a great year this year. But that's it. Why are we talking about them as a group? Well, they're different players.
They are different players, but that's just the way they like to roll out.
Like Nick has boosted Josh's level to beyond what Josh could do by himself.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you disagree with that?
No. Look, there's a marked difference between the players, and I do get it. But let me tell you this in brief, and on a family perspective. My daughters went to the same school together.
Your daughters are twins.
Yes. And you reckon they got called Georgia and Olivia? No, they got called the twins, and the teachers, because they didn't want to separate, they used them. Seriously, we didn't do it, but they used to just put them together and just call them the twins. And so that's on a lower level. That is what happens with these blokes. I reckon that they get grouped together, whether it's by their family or by the footy club or by us, the media, which you're part of.
Not by me.
You're part of the media.
Not by me. It's Josh and Nick to me.
Josh and Nick. The Daycos denier is in full swing.
Seriously. And I would not be surprised if they signed the same contract. Just signed on the dotted line next to each other. Seriously. The Squirrel Group. You want to talk about that?
I did want to talk about the Squirrel Group. Well, it's sort of like in the background, but it hasn't really gone anywhere. This investigation the AFL's looking at, Dane Zorko, Touk Miller, they've had a bit of a history together in Q clashes. Well, again on the weekend, this time it was an interaction, a tackle, and there's no question, Dane Zorko reckons, he said, he effing grabbed my nuts. That's what he said to the umpire on the field. Now, I don't know if you've ever had that occur to you or you're brave enough to say you've ever done it.
I've definitely never done it.
But what does the AFL do? If he's found guilty, Touk Miller here, because clearly Dane Zorko asked the umpire to report him. He's gone on Melbourne radio on SEN to say that this happened to himself. If the AFL comes to him and he says, yes, this happened, they're obliged to act. And if they act and he's found guilty, he deserves 2 to 3 weeks.
You know how I sit on these things. I'm a very much play hard on the field. Yep. I don't like in any way how Dane Zorko's gone about this. I hate it, in fact. If he's got such a significant problem with it, he could very easily get Touk Miller's number and give him a call and talk to him about it. This public dobbing and calling him out.
Why did the umpire investigate?
So let the umpires do that. What's Dane Zorko in the media?
They wouldn't have seen. They wouldn't have seen.
I don't care, mate. Give Touk Miller a call. Sort yourselves out behind closed doors.
It's a dog act if you do that, though.
That's fine, though. Give him a call. Or Touk Miller, give him a call. What's this bullshit dobbing? Oh, he did this. He did that on the football field. That's a worse act than screw gripping someone, in my opinion.
Really?
Absolutely. It's poor by Zorko. Do you not see that?
No, I think if you do something of that ilk, or you spit on someone,
okay,
and the umpire doesn't see it, and you go,
whose fault's that? Is that the umpire's fault?
Umpires, absolutely.
Yeah.
But by the same token, this was one I don't think because of the. Do you see the incident?
So if someone spat on you or me,
yeah,
and the umpire saw it, we said he spat on me. The umpire said, "Get on with it." You think it's fair game Monday morning to go, Mark Redding spat on me on the field. I don't like it. I want him suspended.
If the bloke's not reported, it's an average act. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's an average act. I'm not talking about the act. I'm talking about the dealing of the act.
But if you're going to go and tell the umpire, this bloke has just grabbed me on the
don't
plums.
like that. I don't like that at all. Hate it. I mean, what's that going to do? What's that going to do?
Well, I don't know.
Other than.
But you're throwing this back on Zorko as opposed to if Miller's guilty, I think he deserves to get away.
Absolutely, throwing it straight back in Zorko. I think he's handled it horrifically.
Okay, well, we beg to differ. But the AFL sitting back and okay, if he does get cited, what does he get?
I don't know. It's pretty bad act.
Yeah.
Probably you're probably right. 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. Anyway, the squirrel grip. It's back in the headlines.
It's back in vogue. Shelter footy.
Not exactly. What is it? The NRL player who stuck the finger up the clacker.
Hopewadi. Give me something. Give me a.
Know your role and shut your mouth.
George, or is that
Will's? No, that was Travis. Will Schofield. Thank you. Yeah, don't even worry about it. Yeah, don't even need to listen to me speak that up. Who was it? You're talking about Hopewadi.
Yeah. Up the finger up the
up the date.
Up the date.
West Coast and Fremantle. Let's get into the West Australian side of things. Previewing round 21. Ski. Where is this year gone? Holy shit!
Taking forever. That's all I know. In WA footy.
Essendon v West Coast. Can Eagles make it 2 in a row?
Oh yeah. That's the question we're asking. No, well let's be a bit broader than that. And no, I don't think they can.
Shannon Hearn won't play.
Shannon Hearn's not playing. I think he's going to play the Derby and round 24. That's the plan anyway. Eagles were good last week. The North Melbourne weren't exactly the bar that you want to set yourself against. So yeah, look, and Essendon's fallen off the cliff a bit, to be honest with you. They came back really well late. They've had some injuries, of course. Ridley out for the rest of the season hasn't helped their cause.
Spoke to Jordan Ridley during the week.
And?
He's done for the season, he thinks. He's trying to get back, but I think he's almost
They've been brave. 6 weeks ago, I thought they were playing finals.
Yep.
But unfortunately, the Bombers haven't been able to put it together. The Eagles, I think they just have to, once again, go over there and try and be competitive, keep some big minutes into the likes of Elijah Hewitt, give these kids an opportunity to expand on what they're doing. Campbell Chess is showing a bit back half of the season.
There's going to be a debutant, pick 5 from 2022. What's his name? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, I don't know how to say his last name.
From the Eagles?
No, from Essendon.
All right, no.
Elijah Sitsas.
Sitsas, is it?
I don't know. Tsatas.
Sitsas. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You don't know anything about him?
Not a lot.
He's literally behind Sheasel and Ashcroft, like the most touted player in this draft. Maybe Wardlaw.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know anything about him.
Welcome to the Shelter FootyCast.
Can you tell us?
He's pick 5.
Yeah, well,
absolutely gun Pendlebury vibes.
Where's he from?
Pendlebury vibes.
What's his
plays
background?
at Essendon.
No, neither of us know anything about him. Let's be honest. At least I'm honest.
He's meant to be an absolute gun. That's what I know about it.
Anyway, Eagles, look, in essence, let me just touch on this. Trevor Nisbet went on radio this morning on 6PR talking about, and look, we're thinking the Eagles can't get the job done here, but he has spoken, Nizzy, this morning about he's not standing down as CEO. He intends to see out his contract, which goes for 1 more year. He hasn't asked for a 2-year deal moving forward. He can categorically deny that. He hopes that Adam Simpson will be coach next year, but of course that comes down to a board decision, of which he's part of the board. Just going through some of the things I heard. Tom Barras and Liam Ryan, he said both required players, but it'll take something extraordinary for that to change.
Well, you're not going to come out and say they're not required.
And that's what Ryan O'Brien did yesterday. He said they're both required.
If you are trading them, you're going to say they're the most required players in the
universe. You want the value. You want some value. So that I'd take that for what it's worth, a bit of paper talk from Niz. So in essence, Nizzy, he's backed in Simo, talked about the injury. So not a lot, except to say that he is not standing down as the CEO of the footy club. He thinks he's the best man for the job.
First real public media thing he's done all year, really.
Yeah, he's done a bit with the Eagles. No, Tyson Beattie, but that's
not.
No, it hasn't.
Unfortunately,
no, I agree. Hasn't quite gone through the pub test. That one.
No.
Today was.
It's a bit of fluff.
Yeah, but this was a bit more genuine for supporters to at least get their teeth into hearing something that is relevant to the issues at stake.
Alex Witherden, 100 games across Brisbane and West Coast. Mason Redman, 100 games. So who's winning it?
Mason Redman, of course, staying with the Bombers after knocking back the free agency. Absolutely.
Good to see for a backman.
Yeah, it is. Very nice. Eagles, if they get within...
Essendon are $1.05.
7 goals? Well done well. You think it'll be really ugly?
No, it's not going to be... I don't know. I actually don't know. They're not going to win. I'm picking Essendon.
Yeah, we're both picking Essendon.
Fremantle v Brisbane at Optus Stadium Sunday, Arvo. Can Brisbane win away from the Gabba? Now, this is the true test because Fremantle go to Geelong, massive win away from home. Can Fremantle come back to their home ground, Optus Stadium, which they haven't played that well at this year, to be frank?
Yep.
And on the other flip side, can Brisbane make the trip across to the West Coast and play away from the Gabba? It's against a side that's not playing finals at this stage, have been inconsistent, and Brisbane are trying to set their lofty goals of making top 4. They lose to Gold Coast last week. It's an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and you did call that the Lions loss. So, that's we've spoken on Monday about the premiership credentials of Brisbane, or the lack of them, given what they've dished up away from home. But they've scored 92 points on average on the road away from home this year. And they've still had a poor record, but they've actually been quite productive.
You keep saying how good they are away from home.
No, we went through Brisbane.
Yes.
No. I've said they were shite away from home.
But we went through the things, and they've had a couple of big wins at Telstra Dome against ranked teams, and they play the good sides away from home. They don't win.
No, I get it. I totally get that. I was the one who was filthy at the MCG form, and they just haven't been able to get the job done there. But
you still pick them, though.
Well, put it this way. They've lost 6 of their last 8 Fremantle against the Lions, and this is the home and away system, isn't it? Brisbane play Fremantle earlier this season, absolutely pants them up at the Gabba.
Yep.
Remember that game? Kick 100 points plus. But over here, you're going, do we pick Brisbane? The home away setup always leads you to think, can the home team get it done? I think the issues with Fremantle at the moment, the concerns, I guess, can Jackson continue playing that solo in the ruck? Brandon Cox likely to come back in. Ankle injury almost done, which means Hamling probably misses out, goes back to the waffle. Talk that Cox might play an attack, but I think when you think Corbett kicked 2 against Geelong, Tracy and Amos both, I think, are being solidified in that forward line. I think Cox will stay down back if he plays. But, yeah, unfortunately, it's too little too late for the Dockers. I think they can push Brisbane, but if Brisbane's got any designs on top 4 finish, they've got to win this.
I'm thinking they don't, Skeeter. I can't go back on my chats about this. I can't pick them for a bottom up roughie of the week because the odds tell me I can't do that. But I'm picking Fremantle, mate. I can't have Brizzy away from the Gabba. I'm just going to stick with it for the rest of the year. I don't think they're going to play well. Gideon Coleman is out with an eye. Oscar McInerney is in doubt, so that'll be a big loss for them. Darcy Ford has stepped up and played well in his place at stages, but they can't beat Gold Coast 20 minutes away from the Gabba over in Queensland. What says they beat Fremantle, 5-hour trip across the Nullarbor?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Who are you picking?
I'm picking Brisbane to win. A team that can't play finals against a team that
won't play
finals.
No, they're not. They're not playing finals, Freo.
No, I'm saying a team that can't play finals, in Fremantle.
Sorry.
I think it's a team that's scrapping for a spot in the top 4.
They're going to get knocked out of top 4? Probably not. They're 6 points clear of St Kilda GWS.
But there's a big difference between finishing, say, 4th and
second.
And second.
Yeah, because they won't get their home prelim.
Totally.
Home qualifying. Let's get into the rest of the round, Skater. Western Bulldogs v Richmond, Friday night. This is a good game. Richmond still sort of scrapping around there in the bottom part of the top 8. No, they're 11th on 38 points, equal with Sydney and Geelong. Sydney are making some sort of run to make finals, which is just ridiculous. How do we see this? Alex Keith's out with concussion. As a tall back for the Bulldogs. Josh Bruce did his ACL
that's
last
massive,
week.
isn't it? 12 months, and that almost might be career over. I know you mentioned
it's his second one.
I know you mentioned how highly, I think you said how highly you rated him on Monday. Yeah, once they had those injuries, I mean, they led quite comfortably at half time against the Giants and really fell away. So
they will get Liam Jones back to cover those injuries
this week.
Yep.
So that's significant. Richmond's record at Marvel isn't great. I think they lost 5 of their past 6. So,
have they?
Yeah, I think the Dogs are far, even though they beat Richmond at the MCG in a pretty good game early this year. I remember the rain came and I think Richmond kicked 7 or 8 goals in the third quarter to arrest momentum and hit the front. But now the Bulldogs, I still think the Bulldogs midfield probably just shades what Richmond can come up with.
There's no Hardwick at the helm telling everyone how much he hates playing at the ground, so maybe they change their attitude a little bit. They have been really poor at the ground. Jaden Short plays his 150th game. Must-win game for the Bulldogs, basically. It's a must-win for both teams. These two are right on the precipice of that. Probably the last 3 spots in the 8 that are going to be up for grabs. So this is a massive, massive, massive game. I think the Western Bulldogs win it, purely on the fact of, sounds silly, but talent. I just keep going back to their potential. They potentially should be one of the best sides in the competition this year, given their midfield, given their forward line stars that are developing. Ugle-Hagan, very good, and Aaron Norton, one of the best in the business when he's up and going. I just think they beat Richmond for sheer numbers.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm tipping the Dogs here. Tim English still is the guy who can set them going with Libba, with Bont. They've got enough mids to... I think you're right. I think they should be higher up on the ladder given their talent. I've seen the best of the Bulldogs this year, seen the worst. Rory Lobb is one player I'm interested to see where he ends up in terms of playing at the end of the season, whether he can keep his place.
You can't put him back.
No.
Like, he's not a backman.
And they loaded up on their tools, didn't they? Tool forwards. I mean, Sam Darcy's also one that they've had emerging, coming through.
And the only reason Josh Bruce was playing back is because they had Darcy, Lobb, Norton, Ugle-Hagan.
Yeah, so it's a strange setup at the Dogs, but yeah, I'm tipping them to win Friday night against the Tigers.
Same. Adelaide v Gold Coast, Adelaide Oval. Gold Coast off of a massive win against Brisbane. People have said it's their best win ever.
Really?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, it was a good win.
I didn't say it, but people have. Jordan Butts is out as one of those key defenders they've lost in the past few weeks, Adelaide, so that's not great. Josh Rochelle will return from suspension, so he's a big in, given Isaac Rankin's out. So Josh Rochelle and Isaac Rankin, they play this tag team in the middle, and they do swap a lot, and so they've missed that rotation with Isaac Rankin doing his hamstring a couple of weeks back, and Josh Rochelle being out with suspension. So he'll be back and big. And my Coleman medalist, Tex Walker. How many is going to kick on this mob, eh? Hey, 6 back. I think he's making a little run here, makes a little push. I think he beats Charlie Curnow in goals this weekend.
Who's he? Well, who gets a matchup? Is Sammy Collins.
Who's a very good player.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got some opposition this week that you shouldn't discount. The record of Gold Coast at Adelaide Oval is not great. 0 from 11.
Wow.
0 from 11. I've just
never
won
against Adelaide.
I'm not sure they've won in there ever. Gold Coast have never won at the Adelaide Oval in 11 attempts. They lost by 33 points to Port in round 17.
That doesn't bode well.
Doesn't bode well. Bode well is a very good 2 words to put together there. Does not bode well for...
Who are we picking? Adelaide then?
I think Adelaide, yeah. Rochelle comes back in. Tex is in good form.
How many does he kick, Tex?
4.
Oh, 4. That's
yeah.
a big game.
Well, it's a decent goal. You got him winning the Coleman, so he's got to be doing something soon.
What are you telling me? Tex is going to dominate.
Seriously, you had him a Monty to win the Coleman. I said 4 and you almost fell off your chair.
Hawthorn v Collingwood. I'm picking Adelaide as well.
Yeah.
I think we...
I've got to look for a bottom-up roughie of the week here.
Oh, good. I like when this happens because Skeeter makes something up. You idiot. Adelaide... I just think they absolutely dominate Gold Coast. Gold Coast, they're inconsistent at best.
You reckon Brisbane can't play away from home?
Hawthorn v Collingwood, they've never won at Adelaide Oval. That's a very good start. Hawthorn v Collingwood, MCG Saturday. Do Collingwood bounce back from their loss last week? It was well, not that it was always going to happen. What happened to Collingwood last week, but it was. The writing was on the wall a little bit, given the emotion that was put into the week before against Port Adelaide.
Both teams went through a bit of a flat spot, didn't they?
And given that Carlton are up and about and flying, you can't take credit away from them. They're absolutely flying. As we touched on off the top, the Daycos brothers re-signed.
That'll buoy them. That'll actually lift the whole club, I reckon.
You'd hope so, seriously. Bloody hell. Nick and Josh Daycos re-signed, not the Daycos brothers. Nick re-signed, and then Josh re-signed. They're different contracts. They're different contracts.
Start of the show.
How about we do a joint press conference with them both?
Yeah, okay. We've got to keep rolling here. But
seriously,
we did this.
Wait till they make finals, mate. You just do me a favour, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Just mark my words. Right?
Just do a joint press conference.
Just mark them as I've said them. Just watch when you see those blokes how often they are together.
They might be close. Yeah, here's something that might blow you away. They might actually be close friends and close relatives.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm sick of it.
Clearly don't.
Mason Cox, do we persist with him at Collingwood, or is he getting the flick and they go a little bit smaller with an Ash Johnson? Not as a. Not,
you mean
he's just signed a new contract?
Yeah.
But his spot is well and truly up for grabs right now. They've got some guys that can come in and play those roles. Yeah, and he's had a few in a row. I just wonder if the mix of their team, doesn't support a player who has 3 touches last week, 7 hit-outs. He's not impacting as a ruckman, not impacting as a forward. Maybe they just double down on the forward impact and let Darcy Cameron go to work in the middle of the ground.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout. Hawthorn, by the way, so poor against St Kilda in the first quarter last week. They gave up 9 goals. As you said, Sam Mitchell gave them an absolute roasting.
It was good.
And fair enough. Can you believe this? Over the last 6 matches between these sides, Hawthorn has won 4.
I did say that.
That's interesting. So they've got, not saying Collingwood's measured, but they certainly know how to play them well. James Sicily loves playing at the MCG, had 25 or more disposals in 4 of his 5 games this year. So he's very important to have in the lineup. As you mentioned, some pressure on Cox at Collingwood. I think there's a bounce-back factor for the Magpies here. In fact, the loss that they had that will do them no harm whatsoever. I mean, I think I said before, just having a little blip or so before the end of the home and away season, I don't think it's an issue, particularly when you're in Collingwood's position. I know you don't rate them as absolute locks to make the grand final because of the way they play and the pressure when it goes on them. You're not convinced that they're going to be able to withstand it in September.
Yes.
But I still think they're going super. They're going really well.
Very close to calling this my bottom-art roughie of the week just then, Skeeter. But I just think the way Hawthorn plays, unfortunately, opens itself up to Collingwood's side of their game that dominates. Hawthorn like to rebound and run off half-back as well. So I think it's going to be this rebounding nature. They haven't notoriously over the last 12 months under Sam Mitchell been known for a high-pressure team. And Carlton have showed that's how you beat Collingwood. If Collingwood want to run and gun off the half-back line, you need to put elite pressure so they turn it over before they make you look silly. This game's going to be a slingshot game up and back, and I don't think Hawthorn have the firepower to go with Collingwood. I'm going to pick them, but I was very close to pulling the trigger on the bottom-art roughie of the week. So if Hawthorn do win, I'll say that I told you so.
I'm tipping Collingwood, and I've just had a look. I'm going to have real trouble finding a bottom-art roughie of the week between here and the end of the match.
Might have to get creative, Skeeter. I reckon you might.
Have to get very creative.
I just had a look before as well. That's why I was going to go Hawthorn.
We are cooked.
Geelong v Port Adelaide at Cardinia Park. Not too often Geelong lose at home. So lost last week.
And the changes for both teams are really significant. With Hawkins got the hammy. Is it Blixarves' hamstring. And, of course, Aaliyah has finally, after about 4 days, has entered the protocols for concussion.
I actually feel a little vindicated with our chat on Monday about that.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's a vindication show today, isn't it? The Daycos boys, Franklin out and about. What else? Shannon Hearn retiring.
We've got that 4 right and about 775 wrong over the journey.
So Loggie Jones and Aaliyah are both out. Tom Jonas, their captain, will make their way back into the team.
Finally.
Seriously. And Willie Rioli be back too.
Yeah. You can't classify this as a bottom-up roughie, but this is a game I think Port can win. They're not favourites.
They're not favourites.
Geelong always favourites at Geelong, but this is.
If you want to pick Port Adelaide, I'll give you a bottom-up roughie if you like.
Well, I think this is one. They're 240, so they're a bit shorter than what we normally go for. But
you want to pick them?
Oh well, yeah, for the bottom-up roughie, absolutely. All right. I think they're one of those sides that they've had 3 losses in a row. I mean, their grip on the top 2.
Has Port lost 3 in a row?
Yeah, I think if you look, Carlton,
right,
Collingwood, Adelaide.
Wow.
So that's a significant dip in form. It's going from a blip to a pothole, really. You don't want to be dropping 4 in a row with the finals around the corner, particularly with ladder positions, etc. So, no, I think despite the difficulties of playing at Geelong, the response the Cats will give, this is a gettable game, I think, for Port.
I'll give it to you, bottom-art roughie of the week. Skeeter's got it. Get your bottom-arts. They'll sort you out. Get your bottom-arts. Get your shelters down at bottom-art. They'll sort you out. No worries. GWS v Sydney, Giants Stadium, Battle of the Bridge. One of the great rivalries in footy. It's actually been very good.
There's been some good games. It actually has. In fact, if we're going to have a shot at the Battle of the Bridge, it's made the derbies. Our derbies have been
junk
crap.
But I reckon we could have a good one coming up.
Yeah, but this is these
Giants won by 1 point last time around.
Yeah, these two sides I'm saying actually, there's a bit of niggle there as well, and I reckon this match between two sides, Giants, we know how well they're playing. Adam Kingsley He might not be coach of the year, but he's got to be a podium finish at this stage. If we stop the counting now, he's podium finish.
They've won 7 in a row.
Outstanding.
The players do pick him, but the coach certainly has a massive influence on the captain.
Yep.
So he's appointed Toby Green as solo captain. He would have done that. And as much as you'll hear players talk about the players vote and the board has to tick it off, the players vote, but then the coach decides. That's how it works.
Yeah, but if 95% of the players.
Yeah, you're not going to go against it.
You're not going to go against it.
But they had joint captains last year.
Yeah, true.
And he's come in and gone, right, we need a leader. So I think Toby Green is just the perfect example of you give someone a leader position, and some people don't go well under it, and some thrive, and he's thrived. Like his year is just, it's been incredible. I had a little tickle on him.
Yeah, no, why wouldn't you?
Brownlow medal.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a double-figure odds.
He was when I bet on him. It was 101-1 about 6 weeks ago.
Now, we mentioned Collingwood's record in the last quarters this year. Well, they've won matches, the Giants, 5 times when trailing at 3/4 time. So that's not just a coincidence. That shows a side that's either extremely fit, well drilled, and the self-belief is in early stages of Adam Kingsley's coaching tenure is really good.
Lance Franklin out, Dane Rampy out. I mean, that either end of the ground, they're 2 big senior players.
Particularly Rampy. I know Buddy was starting to find some form, but Rampy's...
Jeez, you hate Buddy.
No, I love Buddy, but he's just... You know what? I'll tell you who this will benefit. Although I'm sure he'd love to have played a bit more with him. Logan McDonald, I think he's looked better when Buddy hasn't been in the team, just to allow him that ownership.
Just be careful what you wish for there, though, Skeet, because you're still going to play your best defender on Lance Franklin, right? So against Fremantle, Alex Pearce goes to Lance Franklin, not Logan McDonald.
True. Yep.
So I agree with you.
I think
I agree, but I think Sydney are very happy if Logan McDonald just looks a little bit behind Buddy. That's okay, because you can get you don't want to start getting the best defender every week and be underdeveloped, because then your confidence gets shot and you don't get the chance to take that leap. Like Lance Franklin, when he was at Hawthorn, he had a Jared Ruffhead with him, and they probably worked in tandem.
And then who have they got at City? Is it a Marty, who's not quite in that category yet? In fact, they don't have anyone. So that's where Logan McDonald becomes...
that's why they're knocking on Tom Barrass's door, even though he's at the other end of the ground, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Giants, like you said, 7-game winning streak. I'm picking them. You picking Sydney?
Yeah, I'm on
with those outs for Mark.
Yeah, Giants, I like them. They're playing this game at Giant Stadium, I think, so that's just a little one that anyway, these games have been terrific. I expect this to be no different. Is this a 5:25 Saturday night game?
5:30, actually.
5:30, anyway. So it's in that nice, sweet time spot as I'm sitting back watching. I'll actually be at the Rugby League that night, but yeah.
So I'll see there.
Oh, you're going?
Yeah.
Oh,
what suite are you in?
I'm in the Victory Lounge.
Oh, that doesn't sound cheap.
I actually promote Rugby League. Do you follow Rugby League?
Yeah, been chatting to Sacco all week. Do you know what I'm doing tomorrow morning? I'm playing in a touch rugby game.
They say it's Rugby League.
It's rugby.
No, it's not rugby.
Oh, well, it'd be good. It'd be good when I MC the event afterwards and I call it rugby.
Don't call it rugby. Call it NRL or league, because you'll get absolutely smashed by the leagues.
Looking forward to playing in the touch rugby game.
Don't say rugby, for Christ's sake. Well, and my wife says, she goes, "We're going to the rugby on Saturday."
Are you coming down to that tomorrow morning?
No, I'm doing breakfast radio. I've got things to do, Schoey. And you know what? Imagine this.
Sitting around doing
Imagine this.
all.
Lion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Imagine this. Lion, Kerr, Franklin, and Reddings. I'd do my calf. It would be absolute moral.
I just love to see it. So I don't know where it's down Optus Stadium somewhere. Is it on Optus Stadium?
You'll be fine. Yeah,
absolutely.
If you do a hamstring,
I'm trying to be best on ground.
Can you just record if he does a hamstring? I'm not saying I want him to do it, but
Jaden, Skeet would like you to record what we're talking about right now. What do you think these microphones are doing? What do you think they're doing?
Can you please just record him playing tomorrow? Because if he does any ailment, we need to record it for prosperity.
North Melbourne v Melbourne. What if I get best on ground? North Melbourne v Melbourne.
Best on ground, yeah.
There's a prize. I read the run sheet before. There's a prize for best on ground. I'm going for it. I look forward.
Well, you're going to pass the ball backwards. You know that.
Yeah, what a shit sport.
Oh,
what?
What's a shit sport?
No, it's a great sport. We love it. We love rugby league.
Yes.
If I win the best on ground, I'm bringing it in, and you need to bring your Logie back, because I thought you were leaving it there.
Oh yeah, what for?
What's going to happen here? What are we going to steal it?
No, it's a protected little item that I've got.
So if I win the best on ground medal, you're bringing it back in, and we're hanging the medal over its head for the Monday episode.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
North Melbourne v Melbourne, 11:10
Blundstone Arena.
This is where they put the good games down at Hobart. I'm just reading the run sheet. Got my nephew Riley. Big shout out to Riley. He's jumped on board to do some run sheets for us. His first note says, Bloodbath.
And I'll back him up. A loss against Melbourne will make it 18 in a row for the Kangaroos, their third worst consecutive loss streak in the history of the club.
They gave everything last week. They gave everything. They gave everything.
You reckon? I reckon they gave 0 in the first quarter. Yeah. I reckon they gave 0 in the third quarter, and they had a crack in quarters 2 and 4.
That's as good as they've got, so they gave everything. They don't have anything better than that, Scott. They're no good.
They're no good. No, 100% agree. But when they played deep, maybe when they were having a crack, the Eagles went to sleep, which means they're 17th and 18th. So that's what we saw, two sides that can't string 4 quarters together. So, yeah, I can't see how that changes. Look, the only reason this margin mightn't go completely pear-shaped for them is it's being played in Tassie and Melbourne may not, have that sort of eye of the tiger about them.
Harrison Petty, 6 goals last week. Dow defender goes forward, goes, how easy is this? Kick it through. Do they keep him forward, do you reckon, Melbourne? I reckon you would. Honestly, against North Melbourne, there's not much to risk. If he goes back and does it again, you're like, well, shit, maybe we've got something here.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they've been trying to find that
an option for September as opposed to maybe right now. But yeah, give him another look and see if he can back it up. You're right, because when you think of it, Ben Brown's still not. There's still something I think they're not 100% comfortable with Brown in attack. Their tall forwards, well, they're almost non-existent, aren't they, for Melbourne? Fritsch is, not exactly your key forward. Who have they got?
Yeah, correct.
Wiedemann hasn't.
No, he hasn't fired.
Hang on, Wiedemann's at Melbourne, isn't he? No, Wiedemann's at Essendon now, isn't he?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So he hasn't played well for Melbourne this year.
At least I picked myself up. They don't have. Who are their tall forwards?
Yeah, Ben Brown's been in and out. Van Rooyen.
Van Rooyen's the kid that's going to hopefully. Yeah. But you're not going to.
Malcolm sort of plays high and tall and small, but can't get it done.
Yeah, give Petty.
Yeah, I reckon that they have to basically because Grundy hasn't stood up as a forward. And the way Max Gawn played last week, had 30-something touches and 48 outs or something. Yep. You're just not gonna. You're not going to stuff around with that. No. He's your best player and your captain. You have to just, unfortunately, feelings aside, you just got to let him roll.
And with about a month or so before the finals, I think they've got to, not saying have to have locked and loaded with the team they've got, but I think they'd like to. Yeah, Clayton Oliver, can you just give me an update on where he's at? Because if he's done a hamstring to this degree, it sounds like a tendon, but obviously it's not because he hasn't had surgery.
Yeah, so I can't give you an update. I have no idea. But the only way it goes like this is a rare occurrence. Just keep doing it. And you're just about to come back and then you do it again.
That must have happened, surely.
Had to have. Yeah. So we haven't seen or heard anything from
We're chipping Melbourne here, by the way.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So that
How many games left?
There's one game left.
At least you're in a pickle, young man. You're completely cooked here. Where are we going? This is brilliant because you gave me a chop out.
I did. So don't laugh too hard over there, Chuckles. Kilda v Carlton.
Oh, yeah.
120. Look, I'll just say off the top, I'm picking St Kilda because they're not the favourite. It's my bottom art roughie of the week. And I'll tell you why they're going to win. This is bullshit. The Blues have won 6 in a row. I think they're
due.
I think they've won themselves out. Yeah, I think they're due for a loss. I think Adam Chera out. It's another injury they've got in their midfield.
He's been injured a couple of times this year, or a few times this year.
He has. Max King has been rumoured. I believe he is playing. I'm actually talking myself into this. I think St Kilda are a chance. Their top 4 chances are slim. Their finals hopes are well and truly alive. They're fifth on the ladder.
They're fifth on the table, and with all due respect to Ross Lyon, that's an outstanding achievement from him. If you said at the start of the season their injuries, their style of play, which is, mate, they if you're looking at the teams inside the top 8 that you want to play, if you're in there, St Kilda's at the top of the list. But they're in 5th spot, and you don't, as I say, the ladder doesn't lie. They were very good against Hawthorn early. Hawks sort of worked their way back into it, but no, I'm not sure if Bradley Hill comes back into the side this week. Probably a question mark on that.
Yeah,
he's important to them, but I'd be more comfortable if I was Carlton if this game was at the MCG. It's at Marvel, and the Saints play a lot better there, so it does give a bit more credence to your bottom art roughie.
I think St Kilda win. They're not even roughie for me. I think they win after all of that. I think Carlton have been up and about too long. They just need a little loss before finals. They'll lose and then bounce back. St Kilda win.
Yeah, just because it's your roughie, I'm going to go for Carlton just to hopefully just put that in the bin. But I do like your theory because at Carlton, they would have given themselves such a build-up to last week's game against Collingwood.
Got a lot of injuries.
They've got a few injuries. They're playing good footy.
Yep.
But yeah, St Kilda, maybe they've gone through their little trough, against the Gold Coast. They were poor, etc. So maybe this is the start of their rise again.
Will Schofield, Mark Redding, Shelter FootyCast. Let's get into some listener questions. Skeeter, Danny Womack, no question here. Skeet was right about Buddy retiring. Well done, mate. So there we go. You happy with that?
Womack and Womack. You know, that was a musical group going back in the 80s.
Thank you very much. At Baby Lemonade 2868. Hi, Schoey and Skeeter. I can't believe you boys had no faith the Eagles would beat North Melbourne. Disappointing, boys. Ha 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 ha.
They won by a kick, and they're very lucky.
Your front footing, Baby Lemonade.
No, Baby Lemonade. Well, I didn't tip them. So, did you or not? I don't know.
I picked North.
Yeah, I put it this way: we went horribly wrong, and we wouldn't have been horribly right if we'd been.
North should have won that. They had 2 shots in the last 2 minutes that should have been goals, and then we don't know what would have happened.
Anyway, it was a good result for footy. So well done to our correspondent.
Baby Lemonade.
Baby Lemonade.
77, Simon Holmes. If the AFL are serious about concussion and protecting players, which they say they are, they have to sanction Port for what happened on the weekend. For Freo, they're absolutely trolling their fans, saving that effort for when it's too late for them to make finals. For West Coast, surely Schoey retires and Hurn plays one more. Schoey can't stay on the park for more than a few weeks without pinging a hammy, and all that scar tissue is only getting meaner that it keeps getting them done. Hurn's performance on the weekend showed he's still got it, even if he has to be managed during the season. Well,
it's like one of my tweets during the Ashes. It's not quite that aged well. Someone says to me.
Well, Shannon Hearn, you've got that one wrong. What about Freo trolling their fans? The performance at Geelong. Well, we've hoped for that this year and haven't given it. So
I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying because you look at Fremantle. You see the performance against Melbourne. They're going to probably finish close to top 4. You see what they've done against the reigning premiers, and then you've seen some of the stuff that's been dished up. Particularly, I thought the game against Carlton was almost their low point of the season, albeit Carlton was starting to play good footy. Yeah, I can understand the frustration of Freo fans because their best is still, put it this way, their best is, they should be, I think, in St Kilda's position.
Yes.
That's my overall read of things. That first match of the year, they lost to North Melbourne here as well.
Yep. At home.
At home. You see some of the crap that North's delivered and you think, wow, Fremantle lost their chance of playing finals. Not lost, but they're playing catch-up from the get-go.
When you lose 2 off the bat, like the stats say, it's very unlikely you make finals, and that's held true this year as well for most of the teams that started at that level. Port Adelaide, are they getting sanctioned?
I haven't heard that they are. I know Aaliyah is out for this week, but it's interesting to see the AFL, to my knowledge, hasn't. Maybe there's been a please explain and they've done correspondence.
Did see that. I just haven't seen a sanction come out, so we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. And another one that's not in that correspondence, but just a bit of a whip around on things that we missed. Gold Coast, Damien Hardwick, apparently there's a 5-year deal on the table.
Not just that, Mark Evans, the CEO. Now, I would have thought, given that he's on a European vacation, if he comes back in 2 or 3 weeks, you could sit down and have a face-to-face. Mark Evans has gone to Milan. He's gone to Italy to conduct the face-to-face interview. Now, you can't tell me that this could not have been done in a more cost-effective manner.
FaceTime him.
FaceTime, mate, let's catch up when you get back to Melbourne. I'll come and see you down at Albert Park or something. No, I'll fly and join you. What
I've learnt from this is
not in Malvern. I'll go to Milan to see you.
Mark Evans may be smarter than he comes across. You're in. You say Italy? Well, I'm going to have to come over and say 2 weeks, you say?
5-year deal. We know the dollar's going to be huge. We know there might be an ambassadorial element of that.
What's that?
Well, just to promote the game in Queensland, which
Jesus Christ!
But in all seriousness, my question, in short,
just get a good coach and run your football club properly. How about that Gold Coast? How about maybe do that?
How does a coach like Damien Hardwick, as good as he's been, say he's burnt out in June or wherever it was?
It's furphy.
And then 2 months later,
he's lying.
He's
lying and money talks, Skate.
Yeah,
he's been hit up.
That's why I'm concerned about the motive for him going up to the Gold Coast. Is it just dollars?
Well,
just dollars?
I think he's been hit up. He's been tapped on the shoulder. The way I read it, and this could be completely wrong, do not take any of this for truth.
Yep.
Someone said, reckon he can coach Gold Coast next year. He's thought about it, going, yep. Do I want to go straight from the last game of Richmond, the season, the game reviews, I have a send-off at Richmond, I'm straight into list management for Gold Coast. Like, you're straight into it. There's no break.
Yep.
Another 5 years. So he is burnt out. That's true. But he just needed the break now before the season ended. He wanted to go on travel. He wanted to go and do that because he knows once he get back to Gold Coast, he needs to be full invested for 5 years.
You know what? I don't often say this to you, but I reckon You're 100% right.
You're beauty. It is Vindication Day today. It's absolutely beautiful stuff. Let's go to one last question. Daniel Jeffrey writes in, maybe clubs should be allowed to have a second sub specifically for concussion-related incidents. Let's say if those two hit each other with a friendly fire on the weekend, they both need to go out. The club can get 2 players to replace them. Would only work for concussions specifically, which would need to be assessed by a third-party doctor, not regular injuries. I'm saying this because from a coach's perspective, losing 2 players at once in a tough game like that is pretty much just losing the match if the players are good players.
There's a lot of changes required there.
Maybes.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not one of those that always says, bad luck if that's footy, you lose 2 players. But it's a pretty rare occurrence that you do lose 2 players to concussion, isn't it? I'm concerned about this happening in a prelim final for me because what happens then, you miss a GF, and I've always stood by the fact, I reckon a week between prelim and grand final is the way to go. But the independent doctor, we know you banged on about this at the start of the week. I think
this is my opinion.
Yeah, no, but it's one that makes common sense, but also it doesn't seem the AFL at this stage, given what's happened with the Aaliyah, the AFL hasn't come out and said this is going to precipitate a change in their rules and the guidelines with club doctors. So I'm not sure we're going to see a change anytime soon.
The one that I think about sometimes is back in the day when they had, and this wasn't by design, but coaches used to not interchange players. So you had 4 players sitting on the bench, and I'm talking a fair way back, right, in the 80s, maybe 90s for a bit. You'd have the 18 out there going head-to-head, and it was sort of a test of fitness, and there'd be guys ready to come on, but they wouldn't be rotated consistently. So because of where the rotations are at now, you get a significant advantage if you can rotate players rapidly. Right now, just to tell you what happens, the back line has 1 player and every 3 to 4 minutes a player is coming off. So you can cycle everyone through in the 21 to 25 minute period, right? So they've got changes happening all the time. The midfield has 2 players, so they're just rolling players through their forward line. If you either stripped them, you'd have to strip them right back. You would lose the advantage or disadvantage of a concussion like this, and it wouldn't make much of a difference on the game because you'd basically just pull a player on and, but what happens here with 2 players going down, you got 2 players less on the bench, and it's a cumulative affair, and then someone else gets injured, you got 1 player on the bench, and the other team has 4 players they are just spitting through and rolling their legs through.
But it's an advantage. It's a significant advantage.
So maybe the fact we need to accept the fact that players are getting concussed, and we need to, as soon as your head's hit, you're out of the game, done, no conversation, done. And we remedy the advantage around that by pulling rotations right back, and it perhaps changes the game significantly.
Yeah,
I don't think you get it over the line though.
No, exactly.
AFLPA kick up steam.
Player rotations and interchange, most notably this year. North Melbourne lost a game, most probably, because they couldn't add up correctly, right. And the Sydney Swans were the beneficiaries. But good point, good letters, good questions, and we appreciate your feedback.
Yes, if you'd like to send one in, footycast@shelterbrewing.com.au, or if you're watching on YouTube, just put something in the comments down below and Jaden will get through there and put the best ones in. We're done, Skeeter. Weekend coming up.
Can't wait. Lots of footy. You and I at the Rugby League. I look forward to some of your finest work tomorrow morning against some notable personalities in the little warm-up match which Sacco's organising.
Have you ever been to an event you've paid to get into?